folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. We have a very, very special guest for you. We have a combat veteran who has a Purple Heart as well. And we need a lot more educated veterans in our political surface, our political cycle, that's for sure. We have Reuben Da Silva, candidate for Nevada Assembly District number 28. But before we get to Mr. Da Silva, Jim.
You know, I really don't have any major rant.
Great. Reuben, let's go.
Other than, well, no, just real quick, other than just like these political ads. Like, I understand why candidates put together the ads they do. And more often than not, it's the consultants, right? Mm-hmm. But so people need to like really, truly educate themselves on what's true and what's not. On both sides, whether it's an ad for a Democrat or a Republican.
I've been hearing.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
So much on all these ads about abortion. Abortion. Let the people do what the heck they want to do, is my thing. Yeah. You know, it's their body. Right. Yes, I'm a Republican. It's their body. Let them do what they want to do, is my thing. Yeah. I don't have any problem unless it's, you know, all the way up until like 4 or 5 months or some crazy number like that. But hey, take the morning after pill and then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. We're the Jimmy Hat guys out there. Yeah. You know? Well, I mean, but all these ads, Jim, is about abortion. I am so tired of hearing about, oh, he's extremist. Oh, he wants to ban abortion. I mean, he wants to have a abortion banned. And I'm like, Jesus. Yeah. Let's talk about, you know, this Roe v. Wade thing. Yeah. They should have just let it go. It already passed. That's my thing. It already passed. Leave it alone. Let's move on to some other issues. Let's talk about mental illness with our populace. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about education with our youth. Let's talk about that. You know, yes, I'm a Republican and I'm saying it because that's how I roll. Yeah, and I don't even think it should be a political issue anyway.
Yeah, no, it never was supposed to be. And then, like, even the other thing too is like immigration policy. Mm-hmm. Like we've not paid enough attention to that in this country either. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't we have a common sense immigration policy in this country? Like, instead of fighting over Roe v. Wade, hey, we're a nation built on immigrants. Mm-hmm. Okay,
you're talking to two right now.
so we should have a comprehensive immigration strategy. Exactly. That's fair for everybody.
And we should know who the heck is coming in our country. So not jumping over the wall, swimming across the channel. Yeah. We don't know who the heck those people are. We need to know who's coming in our country because we don't want another 9/11.
Yeah. So, like, I think the moral to the story is let's talk about things that like we can actually do something about, because when you start talking about Roe v. Wade, I mean, it's such a personal, passionate issue with most people. Like Steve, you and I are on the same page, but if you and I weren't, we could argue for 5 hours. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I wouldn't change my mind, you wouldn't change your mind, and nothing gets done.
The Republican platform is less government, right?
Right.
But yet they're in your bedroom. Get the hell out of these people's bedroom. Jesus. If you're for less government, be for less government. Get out of their bedroom. Leave them alone. Same-sex marriage, who cares? Let them do their thing. Let them experience what every heterosexual experience when it comes to divorce and finances, splitting up the kids, taking all your money. Let them experience that crap too. Don't leave them out of it. I mean, those are one of the two things that I will not side with Republicans on: same-sex marriage and abortion. Who cares? Leave them alone. Let people love whoever the hell they want. That's how I am with those two things. But hey, you start taxing me and start messing with my money, we got problems. You know, we got problems. We got problems. You start touching my money, we got some problems. But hell, you know, let people be. Yeah. You got anything else?
No, I'm just very excited to have Reuben on because
Reuben's my man. I don't care what everybody
I'm excited
says.
to be here, and I love these rants that you guys have. And I watched the show. You know, I gotta give a shout out to Isaac Barone. You know,
Isaac's my man too.
Yeah,
I like
we love
He's
Isaac.
one of my mentors.
Yeah. So, Mr. Da Silva, Candidate for Nevada Assembly District number 28.
Yep.
Give us a bio.
So as Steve and Jim are well aware, I'm a high school teacher at Rancho High School. I don't know if he wants me to put it out there, but I'm gonna have to put it out there. I mean, I actually went to school with Steve's son, Steve Sanson Jr. So Steve and I have been knowing each other for a very, very long time. I grew up in Northeast Las Vegas, around the Civic Center, Lake Mead area, and I went to the local elementary schools, C.P. Squires, J.E. Manch. I also attended St. Christopher's Church, and still do. My mom is still a very active parishioner there. And I went to the middle school there for a little bit after I got a little bit of trouble in the Northtown streets a little bit. My dad's like, no, we need to get you a little straightened out. Yeah. So I got a Catholic education for my middle school years. And after that, went to Rancho High School and graduated from there. This was 2003. And as we know, 2003 was a pretty significant year in our nation's history. We had towards the end of my senior year, March of my senior year, we invaded Iraq. And there was a sense, especially in my neighborhood.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your services.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. There was a sense, especially in my neighborhood, which was a very immigrant neighborhood, like we got to do something. Like this is something we can prove ourselves. Right. Nobody ever openly said it, but it was like there was a sense that this is our time. There's all this talk, like you said, all this immigration talk and anti-immigrant sentiment. And I was one of those people who said, I love this country. This is the greatest country in the world. It's given me everything that I have. It's given my family everything that I have. And I knew that this was my opportunity to silence a lot of folks too. First serve my nation, and also show folks that immigrants also care about this country. And I did. I signed up after doing one semester at CSN and joined the Marine Corps.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! Semper Fi, Semper Fi. And after my time in the Marines, my initial training did get deployed. I was in Iraq during the surge. Some of the heaviest fighting we had seen since the Vietnam War. And I was right in the thick of that, in the Fallujah, Ramadi, Al-Taqadam area, right in the middle of the country. And again, long story, I can go on and on. Like, how these war stories are, we go on and on and on. But I did eventually get injured in a war. I was shot through the arm by a sniper. Spent a year in rehab in San Diego.
For humor's sake, he was a bad shot.
He was a bad shot, and I'm thankful for
Thank
that.
God.
See, when I look at this, it's officially been classified as like a sniping. But the guy took one shot, hit me in my arm. And then
did you catch him?
He leans out of the window and tries to finish a job.
Did you catch him?
No, I responded back.
Did your Marines catch him?
No, I don't for sure. Like
don't
the
tell me
next
that guy's
couple
still
days,
walking around right
I don't
now.
know if he is or not. There's a good chance he's not. That city was.
I would have took it personal.
Was messed up. I don't know. The insurgents didn't have, especially those who actually actively engaged. In firefights with the Marines. I don't know how long the life expectancy would be, to be honest with you.
Right.
But this guy, my thing is, this is my personal assessment. I may have been not a professional sniper, but an amateur. Hits me with one shot. Professional sniper dips back. You don't take another shot.
You don't go forward.
Yeah, a guy leans out of the window and opens up on me.
That's not a professional sniper.
And then I respond back with my M4. And again, but the thing is, they want a lot of these guys, these insurgents we're fighting against, they were just defending their homeland, it seemed like, I'd do the same thing. If some foreign country invaded the United States and, if I was in Ukraine, I'd be out there fighting the Russians.
Let me stop you right there. There was this survey I was watching, the countries that you cannot invade. Mm-hmm. And United States was number one.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
And one of the main reasons they said that you can't invade the United States?
I would say geography.
It's because everybody carries a gun.
That's one reason why. Another reason is geography.
That's right, the Second Amendment. Yeah. Everybody has a weapon, so they can't invade us.
Yeah, there's other countries out there that got heavily armed citizens. But I would say one thing about the United States is that it's kept us free from invasion. This isn't just the history teacher in me. Yeah. We have two oceans that protect us from everybody else. And I'll be damned if Canada or Mexico would want to invade the United States, or the Bahamas is going to launch some sort of amphibious assault on Florida. Yes.
Cuba couldn't even do it.
Yeah, we've been able to over the course of our nation's history consolidate the entire continent. We moved from east to west in a matter of about 50 years. In 1803, we had the Louisiana Purchase, doubles our size. 1853, a lot of people don't know this, is the Gadsden Purchase. And 5 years before that.
Are you a history teacher?
I'm a history teacher, man. I got you all day. This is what I do.
So for once, I'm not going to be the one dropping all the
50 years
time frames.
We did is, you look at the nation's history. we're able to create this great country. I mean, at the cost of a lot too. I mean, we did take land from native folks. We can't forget that. We went to war with Mexico.
Mexico said California belongs to
Yeah,
them.
we went to war with Mexico. And even the how the war came about is still a very contested, very controversial kind of narrative.
Yes.
But in whatever it may be, we built this nation now that spreads from sea to shining sea, and that's one of the reasons why. I mean, it takes a lot to come to the United States and invade us. Yeah. These folks in in Ukraine, I think they always knew that there was this threat. I mean, the Russians can come right across your border. Yeah. Now the Germans are also feeling that sense of like anxiety. I mean, these are wars that are fought because of the geography and the location. Yeah. Taiwan is on edge. They have a massive superpower who's actively talking about taking that land back, which they think belongs to them.
That's an act of war.
And it would be, yeah, it would be. Mm-hmm. We've been very strong in our support of Taiwan and the people of Taiwan, and I think that they need to know that. I've been very supportive of all our presidents, since the 1950s now, who have expressed their support for the people of Taiwan, which, we need to do, and we need to continue that. So yeah, but that's my rant, man. That's my rant.
Your rant?
I'm a history. You can tell that I'm a history teacher, and I love it, and I'm very passionate about it.
I was gonna stop because I mean, you and I could talk about history all because Steve gives me that look every once in a while, like, oh, here Jim goes.
Yeah.
What is okay in 1963?
Yeah,
so,
but I'm running for Assembly District 28 because I'm from that area.
So you're eligible bachelor, right?
Yeah, yes, I'm looking.
Yeah, you have
I need no kids. Never been married.
You should have a whole big fat bank account. Ladies, he's got a fat bank account. This guy right here.
Yeah, it's just my mom is getting. I come from an Indian family, and once you hit like your mid-30s, you're gonna have your mom and. Yeah. Folks in your family, hey, how come you haven't been married? I'm like, hey, look, I'm just taking. I'm trying to find the right one.
Right,
trying to find the right one.
There's like crazies out there. I'm telling you, Jim should know.
Thanks, Steve.
I am very conservative in doing my due diligence here.
Yes.
Very true, very true.
So you didn't talk about your political because you ran for Congress.
Yes, I did.
Yes, and now you're running for Assembly. Isn't that like a leap back?
I think service is service in the end, but I felt that I could, do good work as running for the Nevada State Assembly.
And you were really good when you were running for Congress. I mean, you had a lot of support.
Yeah, I did a lot. Ran a strong race. It was just a very big race, and we needed a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really, this is my first race too. And we did well. And it opened up the door.
Yeah, you did really good
for this Assembly seat. Yeah. When we looked at the support that we garnered in Assembly District 28 and overlapped it with our record in the from the congressional races, we saw that we had a lot of support, in the east part of Las Vegas, and that's my home turf. I mean, I grew up there. That's where I'm from. It makes sense.
So you're passionate about that area.
Oh, I love that. I know it in and out. It's where I'm from.
Are you so passionate to run for Congress again?
I don't know about that. Right now, I'm just looking at the Nevada State Assembly. I still have to win. It's a very
that sounds like a political answer.
It's a very Democratic district. But I've come to this is from experience now. I've come to see that you just work at the task at hand, and you also, of course, you want to build, and you want to maybe if a good opportunity arises or if there's a chance for you to actually impart, something.
What about if that seat becomes vacated? Would you go for Congress?
I don't know. Right now, I wouldn't know. There's a lot of things that I have to look at. I have to see where I'm at with my personal life. Okay. Hey, what if I do find somebody and I'm starting a family?
Because I believe our organization supported you when you ran for Congress the first time.
You did, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've always been great supporter, and I support you. One of the great things I say about veterans in politics, no matter what anybody has to say, this is one of the few sort of bipartisan, multi-partisan forums where you bring Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, anybody
on camera,
and you can have an exchange of ideas, and that's something that we're kind of not seeing in our in our political landscape.
You know what I don't like?
You are one of the few forums out there.
Is when they endorse candidates and they do it behind closed doors because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But with us, we do it live on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can't hide from that.
Yeah.
I can't say, well, we didn't support X, Y, and Z candidate because they said this, which would be a total lie. Yeah. Because people could go back to the video and be like, they didn't say that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's true. That's another thing, too. I was actually knocking on doors here for Shay Backus, who I strongly support. She's running for the Assembly in 37. Right. And there was a woman there from Massachusetts. And we were talking about the whole New England Town Hall and how you have multiple opportunities to see folks who are running for even Congress, federal seats. Right next to each other, multiple times, having that back and forth.
Yes.
This sense that, we can have a forum where we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to just, interview candidates one-on-one, but we can have a two-way. And I think that's the real essence of our education process in politics. It has been
showing a difference at one time.
Yeah,
but then people decide.
And now we've lost that. I mean, there's a we can talk about the reasons why, but one of the key elements that I really love about this show is that we do have that back and forth, and we can have it. And I remember when you brought all of us, everybody who ran for Congress, right there, bam, 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 and we were sitting right next to each other. It means something to us folks running for office when your opponents are right around you, and it kind of brings, I think, a different sort of response oftentimes.
And we learn a lot too, because we're like, oh my God, I never heard of that candidate before.
And then if they say something that you disagree with, you have an opportunity right then in a civil way to check that right then and there.
And then we look at how they dress, be like, oh my God, they're wearing that.
And sometimes too, Reuben, I found that I actually lots of times enjoy being in a room with people that actually disagree with me more than people that agree with me. Because then I just feel like I'm learning something. Like when we gave you our endorsement at, I forget, the Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, at the Sugar Daddy Cigar
Sugar
Lounge.
Daddy's Cigar Lounge. It was interesting because I got there early and I just started walking around and talking. And there were so many people that once I said who I was, and started talking to me and they're like, well, I don't understand why the Republican Party doesn't pay attention to this or why they don't pay attention to that. And I'm like, well, I'm not an ambassador for the Republican Party. I'm here for Veterans of Politics. We're nonpartisan, but here's why I think that is. And it was interesting because you and Isaac showed up, and I was in the middle of talking. I didn't even get over to talk to you guys for a while.
And I applaud you for that. Folks are scared to step into those sort of arenas. I remember when I ran for Congress, and I was criticized for it, but I said, no, I'm going to do this. I went to Lakeside Charlie's, a Republican club. They invited me to speak. So I went there and I, spoke about my support for Medicare for all and how I believe that, we need a more national, single-payer approach to healthcare in this country. I caught hell, from doing the question and answer session, but on the same token at the end, and I'll never forget this, I had so many people come to me, and these are older folks saying, thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate you at least coming over here and having this conversation with us. We don't agree with you, but we respect you for that. I'll never forget that.
You triggered a memory. Do you remember Joe Neal?
Yes. Okay. I know Joe Neal was actually one of my fraternity brothers, Phi Beta Sigma.
Joe Neal, the
state senator, former
state senator.
Yes.
So back in the day, I went to an NAACP. Was it NAACP?
NAACP, yeah.
NAACP meeting, and I was there, and I said that I know that there are a lot of people of color that are Republicans. And they need to step up and just voice your opinion. Stop being a closet Republican. And Joe Neal gets up. He goes, "Nobody of color is a Republican in here." And I'm like, "Yes, they are." I say, you keep forcing your narrative on people, you're gonna push them away. Let people be free thinkers. Let them. If they're Republican, they're Republicans. So what? If they're Democrat, they're Democrats. So what? What if they're Libertarians? So what? Why are you pushing people down because they're not what you want them to be? Let people be people and embrace everybody is what I say.
Yeah. I know.
He didn't like that.
I know. There's a sense that there's this.
That was the last time I went to an NAACP meeting about
party ownership over ethnic groups. And
yes,
I think that's necessarily not helpful. I think we need to have more robust conversations. And then now, if a group of peoples want to support one party over another, I think there's significant reasons to why so many African Americans vote Democrat. There's real historical reasons for it. I mean, we're talking about very high rates, but I think other groups are competitive, and in the end, it forces parties to listen to those communities. I'm an immigrant. I want to see immigration reform move forward, and I think one of the reasons why it hasn't is because it becomes a political football. Democrats throw it around to activate their bases. Republicans throw it around from a different vantage point to turn out their voters, and it doesn't do anything for us. I was in this country for many years with no papers. I know that sense of having to keep your head down and stay underneath the shadows because you could get deported. My mom was threatened to be deported, and again, it's just something we have to fix. I see it happen all the time for something small. There's a little infraction here. Next thing you know, the immigration services get involved and they take people away, and then you have families get torn apart. And it's something that affects us, but it becomes a football. The right thing to do is to come together and then move forward and create some sort of comprehensive approach where you have a pathway to citizenship, and you have this ability now to deal with this problem and fix it once and for all.
And I'm gonna tell you a story. Hold on a second, Jim.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So when I was because I was in the Marine Corps from '85 to 91, but then I did 4 years, and then I was gonna go for 2 years in reenlistment. So when I was going for my 2 years to reenlistment, in order to reenlist in any branch of service, you have to be a citizen.
Yes.
Okay. So I was.
I think a green card holder.
I was a green card holder to get in the Marine Corps, but you had to be a citizen to reenlist.
Okay, got you.
So when I was applying for my citizenship back in, I think it was '89, I was applying for my citizenship. They denied me. They said that I committed perjury on the application because they said that you said that you were not convicted of a crime. And I'm like, well, that's true. I was never convicted of a crime, right? So they're like, well, back over here, you were convicted of a crime. I said, no, I was not convicted of a crime. I was arrested of a crime, but I was never convicted of a crime. So I had to get my commanding officer involved, and he goes, well, this Marine was arrested of a crime, and anybody could be arrested of any allegations of a crime, but the conviction is what you need to look at. He was never convicted of a crime, and your language in your application says, have you ever been convicted of a crime? And he checked the box, no, because that's a true statement. If it would have said, have you ever been arrested of a crime, then the box would have been yes. But that wasn't the question. So therefore, you cannot deny this is my CO wrote a letter. Cannot deny my Marine of citizenship because he answered the question correctly. I said, you're the one that needs to go on and look up the English language, not him. So,
and in the 80s too, this is 89?
That was 89.
That was a very tense time, when it came to like the federal government's response to the folks who were trying to get citizenship. Reagan had passed the Immigration Act, 86. And my dad was telling me too, when he went for his green card interview and he had no papers, he was able to come out of the shadows because of that piece of legislation. That when he was having his interview with the what are those folks back then? It was not the USCIS. It was whatever it was, the Immigration Services. They had the FBI right there, an FBI agent, making sure that this guy right here, the Federal, Immigration Services folks, were actually doing the interview correctly. And so there was that, that's pretty awesome that your CO stepped up and had your back.
My CO stepped up because he wanted me to reenlist.
That's pretty awesome.
I was good at what I did in the Marine Corps.
That is pretty cool, man. That's a hell of a story. And that's the thing. We all of us immigrants, we have these stories about like how we came to this country and then how we went about getting our papers and struggling, with the whole process of being new Americans. And I identify with folks who are doing this in more recent times because I've been there, done that. You've been there, done that. And again, it's like you said, it's one of those things we just have to get done. We have to get done.
It's like when I ran for assembly back in 2008, and I went in front of this group, and it was the National Hispanic Republican Association. And it was ran by Tibby Ellis at the time. So I got asked a question about immigration. I was like, well, I'm running for the assembly. That's actually a federal issue. And they're like, well, just give me your suggestion. And I said, well, here's the thing. I don't know every single thing that needs to get done. But I said, I honestly think that I don't believe in total open borders. Like you have to have borders. I said, but I don't believe that the current immigration process is necessarily fair because it takes so much time, costs so much money in order to get citizenship that it almost encourages people to break the law. So I'm like, why don't we just simplify it, streamline it so there are certain checks so we know who's coming in, but a person shouldn't have to wait 5 years, pay $10,000 in lawyer fees in order to become a citizen.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty common sense. I almost couldn't even walk out without them screaming at me.
It sounds like dispensary license.
Yeah.
They're like, I did it. They should have to do it. And I'm like, well, hold on. So I just think there's more of a common sense approach.
Yeah. And these people are contributing significantly to our economy.
Yeah.
You know, if you bring these folks out of the shadows, it's going to be even more of a boost to our economy. It makes sense. Even this conservative analysis out there, economists who say that we need to do this. This would be nothing but a boon for our economy.
But do you see an overpopulation or school based on illegal immigration?
No, not undocumented folks. The overpopulated school issue is because we're not building enough schools and not funding the schools properly.
And too many Californians are moving in there.
We have a lot of folks from other states. California, we have another thing people don't talk about is a lot of folks from the Midwest. Places like Chicago, Detroit, Ohio that are coming here. I mean, this is part of our. I think when it's all said and done, you look at the actual migration patterns within the United States. It's from the Northeast to the Southwest. That's why cities like Houston, Phoenix are not some of the biggest in the country. Las Vegas, one of the fastest growing cities, is still one of the largest cities in the West. This was the edge of town when I moved in.
Yeah.
Jones, back in 1991, there was nothing out there. But now look at it. Yeah. So that's something that is still happening. We see that, and it's because of the sort of deindustrialized economy of the Northeast. The fact that it's cold. You know that you're a New Yorker, and this is where it's.
But
at.
120 is like
it's getting hot here now too, man.
I don't have to go to Mount
global
Charleston.
warming. I'm just saying.
And a lot of people don't know about Mount Charleston.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we are, in a place where we're seeing a fast-growing population. We have all kinds of other issues that we're dealing with: the water shortage, the fact that we don't have enough housing now, and this is driving up house prices, home prices, and rents. Yeah. So, but in the end, I think we have to look at how we have structured our economy, and where we get our revenue, so we can create those social services that help people, just to get a leg up. And then lastly, when it comes to education, this is not just for education. This is everything. We have to diversify our economy, and we have to be more serious about how we're going to implement this strategy moving forward. And it can't just be one politician or one candidate for office saying, "This is how I'm going to do it." Yeah. We have to come together, work with the economic actors, work with the academy, UNLV, UNR, bring other folks in, study the problem, and have some strong avenues of approach dealing with the issue based upon an analysis that's coming from sound places, not just some random. What can I do as one single assemblyman? I'm one of 63 lawmakers. That's not even counting the executive. 42
assembly, right?
42 in the assembly. 21 in the Senate. We need to all come together and create a comprehensive approach.
And plus, you need to convince the governor.
Yeah. I think the governors, that economic global alliance that they've set up for Las Vegas, it's a bipartisan, think tank. One group that's doing a lot of great work is the Clark County Education Association. They've even recruited Columbia University to study our problem here in regards to how to go about diversifying the economy. That study should be coming out soon, and I'm very interested in seeing exactly what they have to say. This is a partnership now with UNR and Columbia, one of our top IVs, specifically looking at Nevada and what kind of real solutions we can propose moving forward. And that's the sort of stuff I want to look at before getting out there and just saying things that maybe not I strongly believe in, but may not be feasible in implementing.
What are your boundary lines?
So my boundary lines in terms of my district, this is all in the east. It's Pecos is the eastern boundary. You have Bonanza coming out. Then you have Sloan moving north. And then the northern boundary is Las Vegas Boulevard. But then it gets kind of squibbly a little bit. It goes all the way out to Mount Hood and then Sunrise. So Sunrise High School is like in the upper northeast. In the bottom southwest, I have the Freedom Park area. Then I have El Dorado High School. And then my northwest boundary would be the Broadacre Swap Meet. So
the who?
The Broadacre Swap Meet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, my area right there.
And you've been knocking on doors.
Been knocking on doors, yeah.
So what issues are you hearing?
That's a good question. That is a really good question because I went in there with my own platform, but when you knock on doors, you hear from folks who have who may not prioritize those things in the exact same sort of lens. And I actually changed my platform because of this this is what the voters are telling me, to a point where it's like by and large, I'm saying upwards to 66%, 68% when we were knocking on doors. I was looking at the numbers. and doing the math, saying that their biggest issue was traffic and road safety.
Yeah.
That's something
infrastructure.
They was
yeah,
like,
in that area, yeah, traffic is.
Yeah, they were saying
rough.
that's the biggest thing. They said our roads are not right. There's potholes everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have access to a freeway. We don't have congestion is a huge issue. It takes me 40 minutes to drive 3 miles. Because of the road construction. So this is something that I hadn't made a main priority, but now is a priority of mine because I knocked on doors. Another thing too, and I knew this was there, but I just didn't. It's just outlined now. It's clearly outlined, crystallized as something I have to push forward, and that is especially in the more northeast part of the district. There's a strong calls for a hospital. They said we want healthcare. We want to have an emergency room, and I was talking to a lot of older voters too. We're saying, what if I have a heart attack? The closest hospital for me is North Vista or Sunrise. It would take me in an emergency vehicle 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get down there. And minutes matter. You have a stroke, you have a heart attack, you're in a bad car accident. So that's something that I know for a fact is very much in the minds of those voters. And again, it's not something I can do all by myself. I'm going to have to talk to people like Toby Urick, who's going to be a Republican assemblyman, whose district borders mine. Max Carter, I'm pulling for him, in the Assembly District 12. Erica Mosca, who's also in the Northeast, Claire Thomas, so we can talk about and really push and at least get the ball rolling on getting something out there. Yeah. Whether it's an emergency room. That's the basic that we need.
Right.
You get in a messed up situation, you need immediate health care. You need immediate. I'm sorry.
Is there land out there for a new hospital?
There is some land. I don't know exactly what the legalities are behind that land, but there's lots of open
well, even like what you were saying though, if you can get even if you can get to, you can always be transported.
Yeah.
At least if you have
to
where it's almost like a triage.
Yeah, you need a triage
to where you can get stabilized and then get transported to a major hospital if necessary.
It is exactly. And then I'm trying to message it that way too. So this is actually one of the first times I've actually talked about it, in a more public arena. I mean, I'm sitting down and talking to lobbyists. I'm sitting down and talking to healthcare, influencers, and
so you already got the ball rolling.
We've got the ball rolling, and I have been making it
Good for you.
a point of now discussion, because it's one of those things. As a younger person too, I'm not really thinking about a heart attack or a stroke, And then I had a very personal kind of moment here, an experience not too long ago. I had a student of mine who was killed. He was.
Condolence.
Thank you. I mean, this is a kid who actually campaigned with me, in 2020.
How was he killed?
He was stabbed in the chest in the northeast part of town.
How old?
And bled out on the way to the hospital. They had to drive him from. He was 19.
Jeez.
Yeah, he had to be driven from the Craig and Pecos area to North Vista, which is 25, 30 minutes. Yeah. He bled out on the way over there. There was a ability.
They couldn't stop the bleeding?
They couldn't. Yeah, he was stabbed right in the chest.
Yeah.
In the heart. And bled out. And it's something to think about all the time. This happened recently about...
Where were you shot?
I was shot in the arm.
Show us.
Yeah, actually I don't have a long sleeve underneath, so this is the bullet wound here. They went in.
Zoom in on that, Mark. Zoom in on his arm.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about triage and
right.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying too. It's like building a whole hospital it takes a lot.
And you got to think big and dream big.
But just the emergency.
Show the other side of your arm.
Yeah, it's the exit wound here. Exit wound. Yeah, it came out. But it's something that I want to talk more about.
This is what this man sacrificed for a country. This is what happened to him.
Yeah, it's and I think about the folks who didn't make it. I don't even like using the word disabled. I can't use my hand. I can't really type. But I can hold a can of beer. I'm good to go. I always say that. But
is it Budweiser or Coors?
Oh, I'm more of a Mexican type of beer guy. I like Modelo's, Corona, Pacifico. That's a real good one right there. But I, when I was at that hospital, I was kind of ashamed oftentimes to use the word disabled or wounded because I had a gunshot wound.
Right.
But the vast majority of the guys and gals there were from IEDs. They had compound injuries. They were missing limbs.
Frag.
It was just something I looked normal. And there was a sense of do you look normal right now in your injury? And I could easily hide it. You can't tell that I'm a 80% disabled veteran, but if I had a limb missing, or if I had a huge scar on my face. I had a friend of mine who was shot in his jaw. His jaw got blown off, and he has a prosthetic there, but you can tell that
How come you didn't go for your 100?
I need to do that. I'll be real with you.
You know, when I used to go to LVAC pre-Corona.
Yeah.
And I'm 100%, and I got a handicap plate, and I park in the handicap sometimes.
Yeah.
And I get out, and people look at me and they're like, and I'm like, and they go, oh, okay.
I was gonna say, if they spend any time with this guy for any length of time, they know he deserves that 100%.
Yeah, I need to actually, because the thing is, when I first, and this is something too we need to look at. I'm in a assembly seat, but at the federal level, how we go about rating our veterans. When I came out, they gave me a 40% disability, which I shouldn't have got. Then I was reassessed, and this was Harry Reid actually who helped me with this in 2015. They said there's no way that you should be at 40%, and they bumped me. The VA doctor did to 80. It changed my life. I was able to get a much higher monthly payment.
You should be at 100%.
I need to go back and I need to
because
reevaluate.
I'm sure there's some PTSD.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one thing. I'll be real, and I didn't really like talking about it, but it's something I just
we all deal with it in different ways.
Yeah. I'm just me and you will have a personal convision.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. I'm not ready to speak about that on camera yet.
Yes.
But but it's something that it affects us.
Yes.
You know that. You know that being a war vet yourself.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
So Reuben, one of the main questions I have for you is because, well, first off, I think I've said it as much as I could. How much respect I have for you between your service, your Purple Heart. I mean, your Penn, right?
University of Pennsylvania and Yale. Yeah. I did masters at each.
And you got you have that. Plus, you have other stuff that I'm not going to put on air as far as like investments and stuff. So you're a very successful person. Mm-hmm. And one of the, and that's definitely not a bad thing. But one thing that I've noticed about a lot of people, for whatever reason, once they get to that success, then they're like straight to the burbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, as far, but you've stayed in your neighborhood and you're so passionate about that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm really passionate about too, obviously, is education. And this is what I wanted to talk to you more about because you know way more about it than I do. But when we talk about working at a bipartisan level, do you think that, and this is unfortunate that I see on both sides, it seems like the Democrat Party are very strong supporters of the teacher union. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you are as well.
I am a teacher union member, yes.
Okay. And Republicans are like, oh, well, teacher unions, they're the problem. That's why education is all messed up. There's been this wall built up between the two parties on education. Yeah. How can you, because you are a very intelligent guy, you're very charismatic, plus you also have the knowledge, like you are in the system. Yeah. So it's not like you're just spitballing these ideas out. You actually know how the system works. Yeah. How would you be able to reach across to some of these hard-headed Republicans that are going to say, oh, teacher unions, that's the problem, and not listen to any of your ideas?
Yeah,
because I think that's the big problem.
That is a good question.
On both sides.
Yeah, that is a very, very good question. I think, first and foremost, I would say, I think that the whole anti-union thing is being used as just a messaging ploy to get folks thinking that unions are bad for the economy when every statistical analysis, all the history points to the fact that when unions are strong, the American middle class is strong.
Right.
The unions exist to protect workers.
Ex Jimmy Hoffa.
But especially our the teachers union is a great example of what we call like white collar sort of unions, professionals who come together and collectively bargain with the school district, the state, the corporate entity that oversees them, and it's about job protection. I tell people all the time, and I have not said this on camera or out loud, but I became on paper a millionaire at the age of 35. It's not because I had some immigrant bootleg story where I lifted my. I'm a school teacher. The two government programs helped me out big time. Before I get to the union, I'll say one thing. The GI Bill and the Millennium Scholarship paid for my education. I came out of college debt-free. That's a government program, the state and a federal program. When it came to my VA benefits, again, Harry Reid helped me out to get a monthly payment now that pretty much covers all my expenses. Right. This wasn't, I got that because of my service in the Marines, and then a strong government program, the VA benefit system that helped me there. And then thirdly, I had a union job. I know for a fact I can't be jerked around. Right. If I have an issue with pay, I'm not by myself dealing with this massive bureaucracy, the Clark County School District. Yeah. I have a group of people I can go to. I can get attorneys, whatever I need to fight for my my livelihood, and it's helped me. I remember that my first year teaching, they gave me $34,000 a year. I had 2 master's degrees, both from the Ivy League. And I tell them, hey, look,
2 master's degree and you get $34,000.
That's what they said. They said your master's degrees do not equate to what you're teaching. I said, how the hell is that possible? I have a global a degree in global affairs, another one in comparative religion and politics.
What other degrees do you have?
I have an undergraduate degree in American and European history. So they said, your undergrad is cool, but these master's degrees, they're not. And I said, look at the entire first quarter of what I'm teaching. It's nothing but religion. And I have a degree here, and then I'm teaching world history. I have a degree in global affairs. Yeah. What do you want? How much more? And they just jerked me around. They said, no. And then I went to the union. I gave them a phone call, and within 2 days, I get an email saying we've accepted your pay increase. You're gonna go from 34 to 47,000.
Good for you.
It changed the whole. That's why unions exist. It makes a profession better. It makes teachers.
Plus, you stood your ground.
You can stand your ground, not by yourself, but with a collective.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because people ask me all the time, as a Republican, are you pro-union or anti-union? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm neither. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm not anti, but I'm not necessarily
I think it should be a choice.
Either.
I think that employees
that's what I'm saying.
should have a choice whether they want to go union or they don't want to go union.
Yeah. Because I can give you 2 really good examples of how unions have really helped me. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to Steve about this. So my dad went to work at the Frontier, and this was about 4 months before that huge strike happened.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So he signed up to be in the union, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he was on the waiting list when the strike happened. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he went ahead and kept working, but then once they settled, then the union sued the Frontier to get that back pay.
Yeah.
So my dad got all that back pay and then was in the union.
Yeah.
After that.
The culinary union.
Yeah. Right. So that helped my family out a ton. Mm-hmm. And then when I first started working in the grocery industry, as soon as I turned 18, and this was 1994, I was making $16.30 an hour, right? And a boss called me in one day and same thing, and he starts chewing me out about I broke all these points of procedures. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And he goes, well, this is just a conversation. I said, okay, this isn't a conversation. There's something else going on here. Yeah. So I was able to stop that meeting immediately, have a union rep come in and say like, no, he doesn't have to answer that question. Yeah. He doesn't. So I understand
they're very important.
Protection part of it.
When your workers feel protected, they want to do a good job. They want to stay in the profession. They want to, advance. And I think that's a fundamental issue there. When you think about how unions help the education system, that's one of the key ways you build the profession, you make the profession better. Yeah. And this whole argument about unions protect lazy teachers or bad teachers is just it's a complete fallacy. There are teachers out there who shouldn't be teaching, and who probably are getting some kind of protections. But that is such a small number in the end compared to the vast amount of teachers who are public servants. I mean, we didn't get into this field to get rich. The vast amount of teachers out there are doing it because they know that they are bettering the community, bettering the state, bettering our country, by serving our young people.
So why do you want to be an assemblyman?
Yeah, an assemblyman. That is something that I've thought about for a long time. Before running for the seat, and I've always believed in public service, and I see like just being involved in the electoral process is like the ultimate sort of like service to the country. Plato was it Plato or Aristotle who said that in a democracy there are 3 important things for the person who wants to be most engaged in this demos kratos, which is 1, serve the country as a warrior, protect the polis, which I did in the Marines. Secondly, get an education so you know why you're protecting the polis, not just following random orders. Yeah. And then thirdly, serve as one of those politicos who's now making the change in the community because you've done everything else. So I felt that that there was a need for somebody who knew the area. There was nobody that was running that was actually from Northeast Las Vegas, and I think I showed it by getting all the support early on from folks who knew me intimately. They said, this is a guy who knows this area, who's been here all his life. Aside from the Marines in Iraq and my time in grad school, I've always been in that part of Las Vegas. And I knew that I could make a difference. I can go out there and speak for the person who hasn't voted in 20 years, but has an important need.
Right.
Because I know that individual intimately. I could talk about Rancho High School, about El Dorado, about Desert Pines, about Sunrise and all the middle schools and schools, because I know those schools very well because I went to those schools and I'm engaged in the education system there very, very actively, and have been for a long time. When they bring up the road issues, it immediately hits me like, yeah, that's a problem. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right. That's the sort of like intimate, lived experiential sort of candidate that I know that I am. Right. And I'm hoping now that I'm able to. Again, I'm a little nervous. I'll be a freshman. I've never served in office before, but I'm hoping that sort of lived experience can make me an effective assemblyman. Yeah, that's the Steve Sanson approach, man. Hey, I'm here. I'm here.
What's up?
What's up?
Let's get down to business. Roll up your sleeves.
Yeah, so that's why I want to serve, because I want to make it. I want to make a difference, and I know, and I'll be confident. I don't talk too much about my own background, but I know without a doubt that I know that area very well. I have the lived experience that would I think help me serve as a great voice for the people.
You ever thought about running for regent or school board or anything?
I don't know about school board or regent.
Board of Education.
Yeah, I would have to give up my job as a teacher first and foremost if I ran for school board, and that's something I just can't do. I'm not there yet. I need my 9 to 5.
Hey, honesty is the best part.
Yeah, I need my 9 to 5, man. But I mean, I'm looking forward to the state legislature. I mean, this is the state, government now. I mean, we create those parameters that could affect then the school board, the county commissions, the municipal government. So
the school is gonna miss you for 4 months.
They are, yeah. I know. I thought about that. I'll be real.
How they gonna deal with that?
I know. I've thought about it. It affects me. I'm like, I love my kids, and I've built relationships with them, and I'm gonna try to still be there for them. We have Canvas now, which is implemented during the pandemic, where I can still engage and actively participate in what goes on in the classroom. So I'm working that out right now. I'm looking to. I personally want to, pick a long-term sub now who I know, who I can work with, and I can still have an impact in my classroom while I'm serving in the legislative session.
So being a Marine and being a combat veteran and a Purple Heart veteran, I'm sure you have some other medals in your SRB. What type of medals? What type of medals?
I got one for the.
Did you have the Marine Corps Accommodation?
I got that one for the combat.
I got that one too.
The NAM, yeah.
What else you got besides good combat?
Marines don't give too many medals out. I look at my brother who has
Air Force.
Who hasn't.
I showed up. Oh, that's a ribbon.
Yeah, who hasn't? He has like twice as many ribbons and medals.
Perfect attendance. Another ribbon.
He didn't even get deployed. But yeah, Marines. Yeah, you have.
I sharpened the pencil. Oh, that's a ribbon.
We Marines got to really work for that chest candy. We got to work for it
above and beyond.
Way beyond. It's not just above. It's like
way beyond. I guess some type of medal. Yeah. So tell us what medals you have in your SRB. Which is a serviceman's record book. I don't know if they still call it that.
It's a service. Yeah, it's the SRB. Yeah. Okay. So I have a Purple Heart. Okay. I got the combat action. Okay. I have a NAM for what went down that night, but also there's a second part to it too. This is what I take particular pride in. My commanding officer visited me at the hospital I was at, and he heard about I was throwing parties and stuff and doing like more of a social kind of atmosphere for the Marines. And the other commanding officer there, the other lieutenant colonel, said De Silva is actually having a positive sort of impact with these other guys here. The depression levels are going down, and because he's just a social guy. I'm in a fraternity. I used to invite him to my frat house in San Diego State, and they used to get out of the hospital. I was one of the few guys that could do that and get them to these places. And I'm like, that's what we young kids want to do. We're in the 19, 20, 21.
So you've been to Tier 1.
So not Tier 1. It was San Diego State for fraternity roll. We didn't even have to cross the border. Yeah, it was right down. Take the green line. Take the green line. Right.
I know exactly.
Yeah, and it was a good time. And then I'd organize events and parties, and it was so crazy that even my doctor, my neurologist, came to one of them.
Oh,
and he had a good time.
You got your neurologist
and I remember him towards the end. He took a shot with me. That was one of the most badass moments in my Marine Corps. But I got a NAM. That was the first part. Was the actual combat situation in Iraq. Second part was the fact that and I take so much pride in this, that he raised the spirits of his other combat wounded Marines and helped bring the morale. No, that was the one NAM that covered both.
Okay.
It's I look at it, I'm like, it's two separate things.
Explain what
it's the Navy Achievement Medal, and we're part of the Navy, the Marine Corps is, so it's for Marines and sailors who've done something very commendable and should be recognized for their service, whether in combat or or at the hospital, in or stateside,
Keep going.
So I have that, and then it's all the regular stuff. I got the Iraq War Medal, I got the Sea Service Deployment, I got the Global War on Terrorism, the Fire Watch Ribbon, I got that. National Defense,
Fire Watch Ribbon.
Fire Watch Ribbon. That's what we call it. Everybody gets it. You serve it, you get that. That's just for, I think, graduating boot camp. And then I don't even know, man. To be honest with you.
You got a good conduct medal?
Yeah, I got the good conduct.
Oh yeah,
after
think
3
about
years,
it.
the good cookie. I got the good cookie. I got to go back and look. There was some talk that my unit may get like some kind of like unit award too. I haven't even looked. To be honest with you, it's been years. I need to do that. I need to go back and see if there's any upgrades that need to be made. Yeah, so
I should go back and look too.
Yeah. But that's about the gist of it. Yeah.
So with that said, what do you plan to do for veterans being an assemblyman?
Oh, to be honest with you, I would love to see like a veterans committee formed in the legislature, and I'm gonna ask for it. I mean, I know that right now a lot of veterans issues.
They got legislative. They got the judicial committee. They got the transportation committee.
Yeah, the Congress
the
and the
veterans
veterans
committee. I didn't even.
Yeah, this is a state
one.
that has 10% of its populations are veterans. So it's not just saying this is a small group of people. Like at the national level, vets make up a much smaller level amount of the population, but in Nevada, it's a significant amount. Yeah. So it would be, I think, healthy to have a conversation. Can we have a Veterans Affairs Committee, just like the Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives?
To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't even know we didn't. I just assumed that at the state level we did.
We have subcommittees, and then we have a lot of veterans-related bills go through other committees. So the Government Affairs Committee or something like that, Health and Human Services, that sort of stuff. So, but having a standing committee that is now part and parcel of the legislative houses, I think that would be very beneficial for veterans. That's one thing that would it's not a single bill now that we can talk about. We can just talk about veterans issues across the board. And have a standing committee, a committee chairman, a vice chair, and a membership now that deals with veterans issues on an ongoing basis.
Instead of having Veterans Treatment Corps go to Judicial Committee, it goes to the Veterans Committee.
Yep, exactly. So it removes that additional. And thank you for all the work you do with the Veterans Treatment Courts, by the way. So you know that very well. You have to go and it's the process, streamline the process for veterans, and I do want to push for that. So I know at least on the Democratic side, if I win in November, which I'm looking forward to doing. I'll be in there. I'll be a vet. Claire Thomas will be a veteran. We have Pat Spearman.
She's trying to be mayor right now.
What's that? Oh yeah. Pat Spearman is gonna but she's currently in the Senate.
Right.
And but she could be the mayor of North Las Vegas. And I know there should be a good amount that we can Republicans and Democrats, we can coalesce and we can ask for something like that. I think it's a legitimate ask. And it may not happen, but at least we got to get the ball rolling.
How could that come to fruition? What do you got to go through the governor's office? What?
I have to look at the actual process, but I think you can do it within the legislative branch itself. Gotcha. The Legislative Council Bureau just create another standing committee now, because this is our own business. The governor shouldn't have a say as to what kind of committees we create.
Right.
That's one of our fundamental checks.
Oh yeah. You don't want the executive branch controlling committees.
Yeah. To be fully honest with you, I got to look at what the process would entail, the actual with carrying it out. But I am calling to form a standing veterans committee in both houses, in the Senate as well as the Assembly. I think it'll do a lot of good for vets.
Well, I'm enjoying this robust conversation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that isn't mentioned that you want to mention?
I do want to say one thing, and it came up here. This is becoming more and more and more like a very near and dear sort of issue for me, and that is at hospital. Yeah. In Northeast Las Vegas, we don't have nothing out there. And this is another part of town that,
like Bob Bears would say, where are you getting the money from?
That's going to be we have to have that conversation, and then I'm not going to say anything and just outright and be like, oh, this is where we're going to raise taxes on so and so, or create a dedicated funding stream for
privately funded.
It could be, but I think that if we bring all the actors to the table, we call maybe for a resolution now that says, hey, look, let's get a study and let's see how we can do this best. Right. That would be the move forward right now. We bring everybody to the table, everybody who has a say in this. whether it's the hospitals associations, whether it's public and private hospitals. We can look and talk to UMC. We can talk to Dignity Healthcare.
Right.
We can talk to the SEIU who unionize a lot of the healthcare workers. We can talk to doctors who have a lot to say about this. Cano Health, which is doing a lot of important work out there in Northeast Las Vegas. And
you also got to think about how to staff it, because
yes, exactly. That's one of the first things that comes up when I have these, when we have the behind the door conversations, is staffing is going to be serious. We are lacking doctors, we're lacking nurses. We're going to other countries to bring them here.
Yes.
So that's also going to be a part of the conversation. So again, this is not something that one assemblyman or one city councilman can lead. This is going to be a comprehensive sort of a program we have to develop, or an approach that brings everybody to the table. It's not going to be one session. I'm not that naive to believe it's going to happen in the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. But if we can make this happen, this will be doing such a great service to a part of the community and a part of our city that has not had the sort of adequate healthcare that it needs. You talk about a food desert, which Northeast Las Vegas is.
Oh yeah,
it's a healthcare apocalypse. Mm-hmm. It's Mad Max out there. There's nothing out there. I may be it's Mad Max. Man.
I may be a little bit out of Assembly 28, but for years I worked on the corner of North Las Vegas Boulevard and Cheyenne.
Yep.
And right there,
by the Stop and Shop and all of that, right over there, CSN and all that. Yep.
Right there in that area, mm-hmm. And there was the little tiny Vaughn's, because it was the smallest store we had. Yep. And then the rest of that whole complex was empty.
There's nothing. Yeah. It's a food desert, but there's still ways that we can access. I mean, that's something that needs to be developed. I had a conversation with Kroger. Yeah. I have a good friend of mine who's had a very high level, place in Kroger, and told me that in the end, the formula here is, and I didn't know about this until I talked to him. Then I talked to the North Las Vegas folks, the economic development people, including Isaac Barone. They said there's this rooftop system that you follow. They look at a satellite map, and they say where the rooftops at. So based upon the actual residential housing, then they put these stores in place so they know they have a natural base of clientele. So that's another thing too. So in order to get the grocery stores, we got to look at developing, homes and having, apartment complexes, single-family residences.
So you're in North Las Vegas.
No, I have a part of North Las Vegas. I have a part of the city of Las Vegas, and I'm incorporated Clark County. So those are the three municipalities.
So you ever thought about, for this hospital, mm-hmm. you ever thought about meeting with the municipalities of North Las Vegas?
I already have.
And the county commission as well?
Not the county commission yet, but the North Las Vegas I have. The city of Las Vegas I have not, but I've also been meeting with some of the organizations that are representing hospitals and healthcare workers, and I brought this up. This is something that I am having conversations with people. At least let them know that this is something that is on my radar, and I want to bring it on the radars of others, not just lawmakers, but folks who are going to be instrumental in creating that hospital, building the hospital, and staffing it. Right. That's really my outlook.
Okay. Jim, you have anything else, Mr. Silva?
No, actually, I just really appreciate you coming on. And even though you and I don't always see eye to eye politically on stuff,
I have a lot of respect for you.
And I have a lot of respect for you too. I appreciate the knowledge, and I just really respect the fact that you could be doing a lot of other things other than what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But even though I graduated as a rival school to Rancho, I graduated from Clark.
That'll be the next conversation we're going to talk about.
So anyway. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, I know a lot of people that grow up in certain areas, and then once they make a name for themselves, they're just gone, and they don't care about that area anymore.
Yeah, that's.
So it's cool that you're involved like that.
It still happens, They go to the burbs, and a lot of people ask me, they're like, especially friends of mine who have gone on, to become successful, and like, what you still doing in the hood?
Right.
And I'm just like, it's my hood. I love it. I feel comfortable there. A lot of people don't. Yeah. But it's my neighborhood. I have a pride in the community, and want to see it do well. That's why I decided, after graduating from Penn and Yale, 2 Ivy League degrees.
Yeah.
I was being recruited by all kinds of firms and private schools. I said, no, I want to come right back to my high school in Las Vegas. That's where I can do the most sort of impact. And people thought I was crazy for it. Right. They're like, you're going to go and start off at $34,000 a year when you have a Yale degree that's good, and you have a job offer from these private schools paying you 4, 5, 3, 4 times as much. I said, but that's my calling. Teaching is like it's not a profession. It's more of a vocation. You're doing it because you want to make a difference. And that's why I strongly support those teachers who want to unionize, who want to work in our school system, who go through all that stress, all that laborious sort of like living, because in the end they want to make a difference.
Besides being emotionally invested in your district, how other ways are you invested in 28?
So I'm literally invested. When it comes to like my all my real estate investments, they're all
so
in
you're
Northeast.
financially invested as well.
Yeah, financially, very much so in my district. So I want to see the district do well because
Put your money where your mouth is.
Because of my financial future is based upon the future of the district. If the district does well, then my retirement will be pretty much set. And I have 5 properties here in Las Vegas, and 3 of them are in District 28, in that assembly district, and all the rest are in Northeast Las Vegas. And so I have a strong, even not just a professional interest.
So you got renters?
I do have renters, yes.
They pay their rent on time?
Sometimes you got to go back and forth.
You got to send Guido over there.
But the thing is, this is another thing I want to point out. When you have like small moms and pops, people like me, we will work with renters. I've never had to, thankfully, in the years that I've been doing this, had to evict somebody. I've been behind on rent months at a time, several months. Right. But you got to work it out.
How did the epidemic affect you?
Big time. Okay. I had several of my tenants who couldn't pay rent. And I had to take them to the bank.
They would have been booted out.
Yeah,
but you gotta go.
Yeah, one guy was a guy serving the war with.
Yeah,
He's
gotta go.
He was in the platoon. He was in Iraq with me. So that means when you have like these people like me, moms and pops folks, the Nipsey Hustle, buy back your blocks. Right. We're much more willing to work with those people and are more apt to work with those folks and not kick them out than say some random corporation that comes out there who has no relationship with the community, no relationship with their tenants.
So you have
who will kick you out after 30. So yeah, that's another investment that I have in 28 is my financial interest. I mean, it's made me on paper quite well to do.
He says on paper.
On paper, I mean, because I am a teacher. I'm a 9 to 5. That's what I am. But it's put me in a very nice place. And it's again the health, the financial and economic well-being of Assembly District 28 is deeply tied now to my retirement, and I want to see it do well. I want to see those businesses come out and invest in Northeast Las Vegas. I want to see Kroger's open up a store. I want to see more ethnic, La Bonitas and El Supers. I want to see more housing. I want to see people like our big developers here taking interest in bringing those rooftops to Northeast Las Vegas, which will then bring all the other business. Yeah. Isaac Barone actually is somebody who has a tremendous understanding of this. So do the other North Las Vegas folks. What they did with that Craig Road corridor from the 15 to about Decatur is just amazing. They developed that area, developed the housing, and then brought the businesses in. Yeah, every week there's a new business.
He was telling me at your thing, he was telling me how he did it.
And that's one of them too. Yeah. The place we went to was one of those businesses that opened up recently on Craig Road because of the fact that now they have a base of clientele.
Right. Do you have a concern about water though?
About water? Yeah. I think one thing I want to say about the 4 ancestors, the folks who were in office in the 80s and the 90s, they did a damn good job in terms of creating a system now that was ready for this moment, and we got to we have to look at some of the next 10, 20 year sort of watermarks here, literally watermarks, and that's probably going to involve some kind of way of either bringing water in, looking at how we can minimize the use of fresh water. Desalinization, I think, is something that is on the table. It's going to cost some money, but I think we can work with California. With this, they're the ones who have the access to the actual ocean water. But there are folks who are working on it. I'm optimistic. I think that we'll be able to pull it off, and at the same token, not worry about people leaving Las Vegas. If folks are leaving, if we have a 12, 15% decline in population, that's not going to be a good thing for anybody. Yeah. It's just not.
Yeah, I think John Ensminger is doing a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and I think I haven't spoken to or heard from Lombardo on this, but I've heard Sisolak speak quite often about the water issue, and there is a sense of dynamism there that this is and a sense of urgency that this is a problem we have to deal with right now, and not tomorrow or the year or the years afterwards. And I think I'm optimistic. I think this is now, and we do have to give a shout out to those folks who held office here in the 90s and the 2000s who really saw this coming and put into place certain measures that are helping with our water issue. The whole Xeriscape thing This was something that was implemented in the 90s.
Yeah,
That's helping us out big time. Imagine if we had to deal with that issue now, where you had to tell folks, hey, look, do away with your green yards and your grass. And you have all these folks saying, that's my yard, that's my grass,
Right,
don't tell me what to do. Imagine, but we were able to mitigate a lot of that. You know, in the 1990s, all the development that took place out here in the West, in the North, in the South, Anthems, the St. Rose area, they're all xeriscaped. And that is helping us out.
We had very good visionaries.
We did. I'll say that, and I'm just beginning to see that, and I want to give them a shout out, for their sense of foresight.
Well, Mr. De Silva, we appreciate you coming on and giving your platform and letting the folks know who you are. More of an intimate than anything else.
I appreciate the opportunity. I always do.
Well, we're gonna,
especially with veterans in politics.
We're gonna have Mark is gonna zoom in on you, and you tell the folks why they need to put you, Reuben De Silva, combat veteran, that has 3 degrees in office to help make Nevada a better place
I think
in
he's
the
the one that was
legislature.
zooming on right then and there. You know, when he's
Okay.
giving the spiel.
and your point of contact, please.
Okay, got you. So my name is Reuben De Silva. I'm a teacher at Rancho High School. Have lived in Northeast Las Vegas pretty much my entire life since I was 6 years old. When my family moved here from the East Coast, and I'm looking to be your assemblyman in Assembly District 28 because I will say that there's nobody else in the race who knows that area as well as I do, who has been as intimately involved in the ongoing development of that area in all the matters, whether it's healthcare, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's education. I want to be your voice, and I want to champion our community. I believe in this community. I am a part of it and always have been, and I love Northeast Las Vegas. I love our neighborhoods. And as I was mentioned in the show today, I'm deeply, deeply invested in many different ways in the community. And if Assembly District 28 does well, we all do well, and the state will do well too. So I'm hoping to have your vote. I'm hoping to have your support. Again, my name is Reuben De Silva. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. It's just Reuben, Reuben De Silva, DSILVA. Find me, connect with me. My phone number is 702-809-7838. That's the best way of hitting me up. Text me. I'll eventually get to your text. You know, I get a lot of text messages, but please hit me up.
Well, Reuben De Silva, do you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's www.desilva4Nevada, spelled F-O-R, Nevada, Nevada.com.
Well, Reuben De Silva, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said earlier, it's been a robust conversation.
It has been.
Really
I love this show.
appreciate it. Thank you. Jim, thank you.
I'm good.
Folks, that's Reuben De Silva, candidate for Nevada Assembly District 28. And Veterans in Politics International has endorsed this man for Assembly District 28. This man has 3 degrees. 3 degrees. He's vested in the district emotionally, spiritually, financially. He's invested in district number 28. He's a visionary. He's educated. He's a veteran. He's a Marine. He's a combat veteran. He took a bullet for our country. Now, I mean, he has every single box checked. You know, whether you're Republican or Democrat, you have to vote for this man. You have to vote for him. He needs to be in the assembly to help better Nevada. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas for Veterans in Politics. Again, Reuben De Silva, Nevada Assembly District 28, vote for him. If you have a friend that lives in another district, you call them up. You vote for him. You put it on social media, you share, you vote for him. And I'm telling you, we're critical of a lot of politicians, so you know how we are. And we're not going to say vote for somebody if we really don't believe in it. Vote for Reuben De Silva, Nevada Assembly District 28. His time is now, and his time is now going to help you out as well. Thank you so much. Until next time.